You're listening to an episode recorded during the time Innovation Fuel was part of University Canada West. We are proud and grateful for the work we've done together, and we want to thank the university for being in our podcast. We are now excited to continue the journey of Innovation Fuel into its next chapter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Innovation Fuel, a business podcast by University Canada West.
Bringing you fantastic stories from accomplished entrepreneurs and key industry professionals. Let's explore the entrepreneurial world through local businesses and our university community. Hello, Gelareh. What is going on in your world today?
I'm fine. You know that I live in the center of Iranian Community Center in Vancouver, and everywhere I go, I speak Farsi. Police officer, doctors, hospital, nurses, bank, grocery, just name it. All of the people are Iranian. And I chose here because I want my daughter to feel the culture of Iranian culture. But there is a lot of challenges.
So when you think about that element, and we think about this, because one of the things that we've kind of come to know that Vancouver isn't such a friendly place. Like, it seems like there is a segregation, even though there's no purpose to meaning for this to happen. But we see this kind of segregation of communities kind of connecting within themselves, and not cross-pollinating as much. And there's this sort of element of, how do we get more of these groups to cross-pollinate? So when you came to Vancouver, you said you went straight to this, but did you go outside your community and start to explore other things?
Yeah, when I started working, actually, I went to the other communities. But before that, I tried a lot. But you know me, I lived in the different countries. For example, in Europe, in Sweden, Norway, Finland, or for example, in France, Italy, or in Venezuela, or even UAE, it was not hard for me to communicate with domestic people, with local people. It was not. But here it was so hard for me to start conversation, a meaningful conversation, as long as we could talk about food, weather, it was good. But then I couldn't cross that one. I couldn't have more deeper conversations because, first of all, I think that anything I said, it looked like inappropriate, come with a very awkward silence, and I didn't know how to cross that one. For example, when I was in Europe, a lot of Europeans knew about me, Iran, Persia, culture, or books, or history, or movies. We could talk a lot. But in here, I just couldn't get some jokes even. I was in very awkward situations with local people that I didn't know that, okay, what should I say right now? What they mean, it was very awkward for me.
Just finding that bridge, that commonality, because not only the cultural diversity, but then the element of being a different language and different nuances on both sides. Like, where do you find that commonality, beyond how's the weather?
Talking about work really helped me to build a relationship with people. And those work social gatherings really, really help to understand Canadian people. I will give you a very, very a funny story. Some of my friends, Canadian friends, they were talking about their high school experience, and they were talking about cheerleaders. And I said, "What does it mean? What the cheerleader is? You don't know what the cheerleader is?" I said, "No." You didn't have a sports, yes, but you don't cheering them. You don't have those girls going and dancing with those fluffy stuff. I said, "Oh, we don't dance. No, we don't do it. I don't know what you're." And then I was watching a lot of movies about cheerleaders to understand. I found that this is a lot of culture there, which I don't get it. So I never ever get the jokes about cheerleaders.
No, it makes perfect sense. It totally makes perfect sense. But I think this is the biggest challenge, especially for when we talk about being an institution, being UCW and an institution, that we have a lot of international students that are probably experiencing these challenges all the time. Like, how do they break out into other areas? And it's probably becoming a barrier for them to find a job too.
Oh, yes. I'm also learning a language. We are adults. For us, learning a new language doesn't mean we have to go to English class. class or something like that. It's more about practicing it. And I always tell to my students that going to the English class or pay for English class or tutors or stuff like that in English, paying it out of UCW, it's better to find a job not in your community. Find any other job that you cannot talk in your own language. That's the only way you can understand. And also, there's a big thing about learning a new language is it you may create a sentence that's grammatically, it's absolutely correct, but doesn't make sense. And this is all important about where do you live. So for example, British people in UK make a sentence the Canadian doesn't understand. Both are like speak English because language is really rooted to the local culture. So the only way you can understand is not going to the English class. It means that you have to be in relationship with local people, and that is a very, very important piece of understanding that for growth, professional, personal growth in a new country, you need come out of your community.
Perfect. And I think, and you're talking about a number of different things, but, yes, there is different dialects around the world. There's even different dialects in different languages. So this is the conversation element. But I think the other thing that you really you're pushing on, Gelareh, and I think our conversations might be around this today, is around how can community support this? How can we take the elements of that pressure of going to a network event versus maybe going and connecting with a community that might be like-minded, might be able to support you?
Absolutely. And networking was one of the first what I learned in Canada. So today we have a guest that can help us for networking in the new communities, Juliana Lopes, the founder of the FEM group. Let's welcome Juliana Lopes.
Welcome, yes, to another episode of Innovation Fuel brought to you by University Canada West. Today, we have a really cool special guest. We have Juliana with us. She's going to talk to us about a variety of these things and about how her business is working in and around supporting community and women. Before we get there, let's go back. So we're talking about the FEM group is what you started. Tell us a little bit how you came to the realization of this opportunity and the gap you're trying to fill.
Actually, it started out as a branding and marketing agency. I started out as a freelance graphic designer, and I got a pretty good reputation because of my background in fine art. I do have aesthetics, so my design work was doing pretty well. I started to hire people to help me out on some client project. And then I just realized that a lot of people I encounter during the hiring process, they were mostly males. And I was wondering, where are all those female designers and all these marketers in general? And then I got the chance from Instagram, social media, LinkedIn. I spoke to a lot of women. Unfortunately, a lot of those girls in the talented space, they actually have to work as a local office staff or cashiers, things is not requiring the talent. So that was I wanted to build a platform so we can introduce to companies, businesses, there's a lot of talented women. They are not doing a job that is maximizing the talent. Then that was the original idea when I started out as the agency. I first started out hiring on those freelancing platforms like Upwork. So there was a lot of men from third country, Pakistan, India's, and they're also competing with a lot lower quote. I don't know what's the budget. So yeah, a lot of girls in Canada, North America in general, and where are they looking for jobs? I was curious about that.
So what did you do attract more women CVs?
I did not really attract more, honestly. I was just going out to look for them myself. I was just finding them from Instagram. I'm just looking just hashtag graphic design, hashtag branding. Just found a lot, a bunch of very talented women from Europe to Colombia. We used to hire, we had a team from girls from South Africa as well, Uruguay, really many different countries. And there's so many talented girls on social media trying to just show their portfolio, show their work to people, trying to get hired on social media. They're on Behance, they're everywhere just showcasing their portfolio, but they are not and when I ask them, are you working as a designer? And no, they're working at the restaurant or supermarkets or whatsoever. They just don't get picked, I guess. Even though I know a bunch of agency owners myself nowadays, and I looked at the team, still mainly men these days. I don't know what is the reason. I would love to know as well. Why companies tend to hire male? Apparently there is a huge like pay gap still happening today. So for women and men in the exact same position, we as women still getting paid less for unknown reason.
But even like in a creative space, you would think that there would be more women that are filling these roles in the creative space and in this element of creating the elements that you're talking about.
What do you do to support those women, for in general?
So in terms of the creative agency in the past, so we actually created as a team. We have as a company portfolio, having everyone with different talent in it. So we present those portfolio to businesses and companies. So like, hey, we have a group of women very talented. They are not working as a full-time designer or marketers as they're talented to be. So why don't you give them the opportunity? Then we create like our own marketing, like we market for them. We build a sales team trying to reach out to other clients, just bring them those opportunities.
So do you help your clients with branding themselves to make sure that they're being exposed, that their talents are being exposed? Because, we think, Juliana, now we're actually, because the world is totally shifted in this world. And now with post-COVID, we start to see this element of individual branding. And how do we get individual world? How do we get that message out and start telling our story to these individuals and getting their message out and telling these stories to the companies that can employ them?
Personal branding in general is really, really hard. Like a lot of business, even though they start to build their own business, they first build their personal brand first, because like, look at those influencers. They have to have like probably 100K followers before they actually start like pushing out their brand. I feel like it's really hard in terms of business. A lot of business, they're confusing what their true value is. A lot of businesses trying to get revenue. I often suggest like the business has to present the business owner's character. Like, does your business showing exactly who you are? Are you like a fun person? Are you like a serious person? Or like what is your value? What are you promoting? Like you can't be building a business just want to sell things. You're supposed to be like promoting some causes or like issues or messages to people. Like, are you putting that into your business? Are you incorporating them? And I feel like a business has to have a personality too, and that should be the one who created this business. So basically, we just like taking the business owner's character and we want to put it into the brand.
So Juliana, take us into the world of, so we've got this agency, now you've created this other thing, this community. Take us to the why the community, and what's the purpose of the community, and what were you doing with the community?
I went through a personal thing. I went through a divorce. So it was the first time ever pretty much in Canada I was alone. I got here in 2012 and I got married 2013. So my entire life in Canada was pretty much in a marriage. It was the first time I lived alone. I moved out, I was confused. So I took some time off from work. I really tried to figure things out. And so I did not want to have the people in the team waiting for me. So I kind of like dismissed it. I don't want people just sit there and wait for me to have some answer, bring it back to the table. So yeah, like I spent time off trying to figure things out on I went out to meet more people, to learn from people. I attended events. I tried to network with people, just learn from how other people doing, like building agency or business in general, just trying to learn from them. And during those time off, a lot of people that I met, women in general, that we do face like different challenges. So that was the idea. Once like my first idea bringing this community is also like, oh, we want to create a community for women in business. We can help them with branding and marketing. And we're going to provide them with resources and support in ways that we can to help the business in general. At the same time, they can also support those girls like in the talented space for work opportunity. So I was thinking it's a mutual connection. And yeah, like that's the, like, why don't we do space that having like agency on the side and then like community, like we're just supporting each other on both ends. That was the first idea.
So you're supporting each other for branding, right? It means, and mostly professional supporting, right?
Well, first of all, it was the idea as we started to create events, like bringing women together. We host a few events, like I call them gatherings. I don't call them events. Literally just like a group of people coming together. They were all strangers before and coming out, like we have brunches, dinners together. And then from strangers, they become friends. They understand what each other do for work. If they found this synergy between each other, and then they can create work opportunities together. There's no force. I don't like to have people like go in there selling the business. Sometimes like what you sell is not what people need. You know, if you only sell to those who need you, if not, like why are you forcing people? Like why you sell things like I don't need that, you know? So that was the principle. Like I don't encourage sales in our community. If you find the right people and actually works well, then yes, work together. And that's so I promote building first friendship, authentic relationship, really understand who that person is behind the business that she's building before you try to do business together, because we are not our business. We are not our work. We are a person. We are more than the work we do.
What is your tips, if you can share it, to help me, for example, to connect authentically with someone in your network?
Suggest that don't go in a place having intention or expectation at first. Like, I don't recommend anyone go to any sort of networking event. I'm going to find someone that I can eventually work together. If you're going in there, so whatever you do, if you already have set intention, you are limiting where this opportunity can grow. Probably you're going to just become friends with this person, and then you're going to meet other friends from this person, and then you're probably going to work with the person's friend. You don't necessarily like find opportunity or whatever. Like I just don't recommend anyone going to anywhere. First, just go there, have a good time, try to meet new people, because life is short in general. We don't really meet too many people in our lifetime. So just really take your time, just go meet many people, listen to their story, understand why they do what they do, and then you will see where it leads. That's how I feel about things.
What about those people that they don't feel comfortable with the strangers?
Yeah, that actually happens quite often of the girls that came to my place. I will do whatever I can to make them comfortable. Like that's how I do as a host. I make them, I don't know, I just have a way. I don't know exactly how. I just know how to make people comfortable, and I just make them feel like this is just your friends outside of your friend circle. This is not really like, it's not as serious. You know, just don't take it so serious. Just see it as your friend. It's your new friend. And I don't know, like I feel like they feel the vibe. Even the people they are shy at the beginning, after a while, they start to be comfortable. Like last event, there was this girl, like she was really shy for the first 1-2 hours. And then 3-4 hours later, they went the second round of drink, and I left and they continued without me. It didn't matter anymore, my existence.
But it also seems like, you know, here's a safe environment where there's no expectations. You typically go to, an example, networking events. There's an expectation. There's an expectation that you're going to this network event because it has some kind of theme to it. You're trying to network. You're trying to build that element. Now, and you said, you know, guys are different beasts altogether, but, you know, maybe having that support system, that support network, like meeting with you, Juliana, and supporting and finding people of like minds, then they can, you know, expand out to other networks and take advantages of some of those other networks based on those relationships they're building.
You don't really go in there, like you don't fix your mind. I mean, it's normal. I feel like it become a norm. I would say people going to events, it's become a regular thing. You have expectation. I'm not necessarily saying this is a bad thing, but at the same time that I spoke to a lot of people, like they go to events, that you have to be like very pretentious. You have to be like, I have to look professional. I have to look sharp. I have to look like I am doing really well. Like you don't really have to do it. If you need help, just ask. Like, I mean, I want something. You just ask people. Like you don't need to show that if you're so well, like you're everything perfect by yourself, why are you going out to meet with people? And then just like go do it all on your own. So there's a reason why you're going to network at work. So just be honest with what's your current situation. Just be yourself. And then that's actually a great outcome that a lot of girls that met from our gatherings, they are working together without having the intention first. So they were publishing a book together. Like she was like the publisher of like a book, and then like there's person is in technology. So they're working together, like publishing her business on the book. Like, I mean, it is just natural. I would say they're like before that, I'm sure they did not expect working together in this way.
As you are an immigrant, I'm an immigrant. As an immigrant, sometimes we don't know how to build a connection with someone outside our own community, Chinese community, Iranian community, Indian community. It's really hard for us to start a conversation that is appropriate. Sometimes we are dealing with those. For example, for me, if I start something in Canadian culture with Iranian culture, maybe it's so inappropriate and I'm scared to start doing it. So it's not just being because I'm always shy, I'm never shy, but maybe I don't know how to start with another culture.
Let's say, in my opinion, I don't really have too many things about what is appropriate and what is not. So let's put it that way, because I feel like we are just living life that just experiencing things. You don't really know what is right and what is wrong and who says what's right and what's wrong, who set those rules. And there's just a normal standard of like the society says. You don't really, I feel like you don't really need to care so much, because like you're going there being yourself and you're going to find people who are similar as you, or they appreciate you for being who you are. But by the time that you are being someone else and then you're going to meet new people, and that's, you are not presenting yourself as your true self, and then later on the person find out, oh, you're not even like, you are lying, you're not like even who you are. So there is no point to really be like just care about, oh, what the person might think of me, and then doing something else, try to just be appropriate or cover up your true self. That your intention is to meet people who are just like yourself and appreciate you. You don't necessarily have like, there's no way that everyone gonna like us. There's impossible. How you can go to event like 100 people and you're like 80% of them is gonna like us. If you find 8, that's perfect. Like I don't mind about the rest 92. We meet again another time. If we don't meet again, that's totally fine too.
Going from this, Juliana, you've got this community, you've got this agency brand. Now you're fast forwarding into a magazine publication. What led to this journey, and you're heading down this pathway? What do you see the benefit of the magazine, and how does it contribute to this community building that you're trying to create?
Start from my original idea of everything. I don't care how it's going to lead. That was the first idea. I had the thought and I'm going to start doing it, and I will see how things go. So the first idea is to promote these people that I meet, why I'm building this community. A lot of people has very interesting stories to tell. All of us, we're all unique. Like we all came from different places. We have different experience. We have different parents. We have different. We have different school that we went to. We had different kind of friends. We have different mindset. We all have very different experience shaped us into who we are today. So a lot of people, I just found that it's fascinating to hear the stories in general. I really love to like just, oh my God, that's so amazing. That's where they came from and where they became today. And I just like, I wanted to share those stories to other people. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of girls, they're young, they're starting out, and they don't really know, like, they don't have the courage. Like I talked to a lot of women in the past that they are doing a daytime job, but they do really want to start a business. And they was like, yeah, but if it doesn't go well, it doesn't pay my bill, or if like there are so many ifs in their head. And I want to show those stories. Those women went through exactly the same, and they didn't care. They took a risk basically, and we'll see where they are. That's the message. I want to share those kind of stories to inspire who's not sure, who's in doubt in life, just to have like the general motivation and inspiration to just like give them a little push, that trust a little bit and what they want to do. Just share those stories basically.
Do you think that how sharing their stories, it can help me of my branding? So how it can help me in my professional life?
what we are doing is almost always limited for how many people is getting seen, that we are not exposed to too many. So every time that you have a new way of like a new source, I would say, exposing what you're doing, it's just another way, another option to share your stories to more different corners. Like, because each of us have our own network. I would just say that the more ways and more, I don't know what's the right word, more paths to show what you're doing, your business, it will just get more seen exposure to people going to check out your story. Like, people are going to check what you did, what you built, and why you built. Like, even we look for business nowadays, you want to see the background story, why they started to do that, right? Basically, we're just getting that out.
But again, it comes back to the same thing that we talked about very early on. And I think this is a big story now that we're starting to think about. Everybody has their own journey. They need to expose that journey in order to open up opportunities. Because if people need to see your story and buy into your story in order to buy into you and what you can give to them, the value that you can create for each other. And I think the more exposure of people's stories, it's going to do two fronts. It's going to give them more exposure to develop their ideas and their concepts and move forward. But it's also going to help encourage, like you said before, the younger generation, the next evolution. Because as you said, there's some individuals, probably a lot of individuals out there that just don't have the confidence. How do we get them the confidence? And especially, Juliana, I love what you're doing by building this community, because I think you are starting to help give them an opportunity to build that confidence.
I want to echo Dave. I think that when I telling my story, I'm telling what happened to me, how I achieved something, how I overcome my challenges, and other people are listening to me and they relate to me, or I encourage them or inspire them. If give me confidence, then I feel that especially for new immigrants, newcomers, that they don't have much confidence if they feel that they achieved something through their journey to be here. They feel more confident to go and actually sell themselves as someone that can find a job, find the positions in society as well, not just as a job and professional, but about society as well. They feel more confidence and they feel more acceptance in their society.
I feel like at the end of the day, you feel more fulfilled as well. I believe from all those like books that we read in general, and you start to question your own existence. We as human, at the end of the day, we were born with nothing. We're going to die with nothing. So all it matters is what you build, what you can create during the lifetime that you have in here. Everything you do is eventually have to give back to the source. So that's what we have being creative from. And like, that's why we feel good when we're able to help people or create an impact to something. Because we all want to do something bigger than ourselves. We don't want to be someone who just like go to work, pay the bill, have some rice tonight, and then sleep and tomorrow repeat. We want to do something, have like meaning behind it. That's why you feel good. Like, oh, I'm just telling people. I talk to strangers on the street too. Like, I talk to them, and sometimes like, oh my God, like you helped me a lot. Like, I feel so good for a week. You know, like it's a random stranger. If anything comes from me, just saying things from them, it brings them any positivity or change. Who knows? And maybe inspire them to start a new business the next month. Like, oh my God, they never need to even remember me. Like, who cares who I was? Like, just a random stranger. But it's their life, you know? And that's how it is. Like, we're all connected as one on the planet if more and more people understand that. And we're not that separated as we think. And that's something Vancouver has to work on.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I totally understand. And, you know, like one of the things that we hear all the time is that, the Vancouver culture can be a little bit closed off. And we do see this element that people are saying, hey, Vancouver's not as friendly. But by people like you, Juliana, that are creating these communities to open up those conversations, to start getting people more comfortable. And I think something what Gelareh is saying is I think that we have so many different multiculturals here, that the cultural environments, that we have to break some of those barriers and cross synergize these and make people feel comfortable going into different communities and understanding, hey, there is a Canadian way and there is other types of cultural ways, and we can learn together to create a nice little global little environment here in Vancouver. So, but, before we end our show here, guys, before we move on to the next thing, we have Juliana, knowing maybe in this concept here that we're talking about, how do we break down some of these barriers? Maybe you have a challenge that you have for us that you could throw out to our audience, to our students, that we should be thinking about.
For sure. Like myself, again, I was an immigrant myself, and I struggled the exact same issue. I became so shy. I could not talk. I remember the first time I arrived to Canada, I went to eat Vietnamese noodles with my mom, and I did not know how to ask for the bill. I called my friend, how can I ask the bill in English? I don't know. How can I pay? I was so confused. I finished the food now. What I'm going to do? So I had that experience for sure. And then everything was so new, and there's a lot of thought in your head, look, everyone seems so happy. They have their own friends. They have the life. They know where they're going, what they're doing, all those kind of stuff. I can't understand the sign. I don't know if I'm taking the right bus. There are so many things that, again, the community things, it honestly is a huge thing, because we are shy. We are scared in this new country that we want to stick to our own people, like Chinese and Iranians. That's because we found more comfortable. That's our comfort zone, right? But the thing is the more you stay in your comfort zone, you're never going to be out of it. So you cannot stay there. And I met a lot of I heard a lot of Chinese when I arrived. It's it's okay. You don't really need to speak English. There's a lot of us never did in our entire life. So it's okay. You're going to just get a job at a restaurant, at a Chinese restaurant, be a waitress forever. I said, oh my God, can I just go back to China now? What's the point? I come here for. So yeah, I know this is a huge issue. My ex-husband is also an immigrant. We both struggle the same. He's from Europe. By any means that I know there's a lot of people in here, they support people from the Europe. They have a certain admiration, especially his first language is French. But even though he did not have the confidence to, because just doesn't feel like a sense of belonging in here. Doesn't matter what kind of language that you speak. You can be speaking Persian, Spanish, Chinese, whatever you speak. It's the same. You just don't feel like you're part of this city. And Vancouver has been great, but it has not been the most welcoming city. We've been to Montreal. It's a different story, I swear. Yeah, there is something that I had to figure out on my own, because I did not like how I felt being in the city. I don't want, it's been how many years? 8 years, 10 years I'm in Canada. I still feel like a foreigner. I don't want to live for the rest of my life feeling that way. So I had to figure out something. And I just started to going out, just talking to people. And I realized later on, I was really shy about my accent for sure. People, I was oh, I'm going to have an accent and they're going to make fun of me. I'm still now, I don't understand the words. It just teach me how to say it. Now I'm not scared to be that, but that took some time, right? But so I just start doing exercises, I would say. That's I just realized as with practices, you just realize people don't care about your accent at all. People don't care. As long as they understand what you're saying, it's good. Because nobody really, really care as much as you thought they would. That's what I found out. A lot of this is all in our head. We thought we are going to be judged. We thought we are going to be made fun of. It's okay. I taught those people. I'm teaching people nowadays. If someone make fun of you having accent, make fun of them too. That they cannot speak the language that you speak. How are you making fun of me? You cannot speak the language that I speak. I speak more than you. So just make fun of them. What is your mind? What would a person's mindset to be making fun of people who does not speak the language as an immigrant? So you do not really need to apply respect to those people as well. You only respect those people who knows how to respect people in general. If those don't know, then it's okay. You can do the same.
Absolutely. This is what exactly I tell my students always, that come out of your community, work with other community, because there's a limitation in just work on your own community. You never can grow if you don't come out of your community. And also, actually, you don't feel you live in Canada if, for example, in Iranian community, you don't learn about different culture, you don't learn about different food, you don't even know how to resolve your conflict at your workplace with other people. So you're actually living in your own home country in Canada without actually being in Canada. So exactly what I say. And I absolutely understand that I still have accents everyone can understand. And I feel sometimes embarrassed. But however, that's who I am. I know 3 languages. I have accent. Yoo-hoo.
100%. Good for you. That is a beautiful accent. That is good. This is a privilege to have an accent nowadays. You know? It's honestly something you should be proud of. Like you were born, like who says that? Since when English should be like a language that is the standard, that everyone who speaks English with an accent is wrong? Who said that? Nobody said that, right? Like it's a privilege to have an accent nowadays. So all I'm saying, like who make those rules? So
I love it, guys. So what it's time to break out of these communities and start exploring some other communities. Who knows what opportunity could lie ahead? Maybe there's some collaboration pieces, maybe some opportunities for new ventures, maybe new opportunities for new jobs by just stepping out of our comfort zone a bit and opening up. That's been a great episode, Juliana, another episode of Innovation Fuel. Thank you very much, Juliana, for today. It's been a great conversation. Yes, get out and join those communities.
thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for listening to Innovation Fuel. We are on all podcast streaming platforms, Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Visit our website at www.ucanwest.ca/innovation fuel. Also, follow us on Instagram at innovation_fuel.